Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at Crafter's Companion, I have Retro Christmas Collection. Absolutely adorable with the little 6x6 paper pad. And then we've also got some stamp and die sets for the little snow people and the most adorable little reindeer. I have a card here that I used little snow people on with a little pastel coloring. Guys, this is our giveaway card for this episode, so if you stick around, you'll learn how one lucky viewer could win this card to keep or share with a friend. So come play with us. All right, let's take a look at the little 6x6 Retro Christmas Collection. You are getting 12 designs, 3 of each, and they're double-sided. So cute. So let's take a look at this one. I love the little border, the little candy cane border around the edge. Really adorable. You've got the retro Santa, the cute little reindeer with the Santa hat, and on the back we've got more beautiful little stripes. And then I love the ornaments, and that's a navy blue background. And then on the back of that, navy blue again with those beautiful starbursts. And then this one, the little peach background with those little stars. And you've got the little girl in her sweet little dress, the snowman, the tree, the little boughs, and then the other side is the peach stars. Are those stars or are they more like sparkles? I think they're sparkles. And then this one, another one with ornaments. This has got kind of an orangey background. And then on the back of this one, you're getting that orange with the sparkles. And then this one has a tan background with lots of green. The ornaments are green, the pine boughs, and then you've got kind of that peachy color with the Santas, the stars. Really, really pretty. And then on the other side of this, you've got another stripe with the tan and the red and the green. And then on this one, we've got a blue background with all the little baubles and those little sparkles. And then I love this one. This has got a teal background, so it matches. And then sort of an orangey yellow color. And it's got the sparkles and the pine boughs coming from each side. And all the little ornaments. And then it's got a little star on this one. Oh, this one might be my favorite. It's got this peachy, actually it's a coral background, and then it's got all these little holly leaves, the sparkles, little candy canes, and then it's got the coordinating sparkle pattern on the back. This one with the kind of an olivey green, and then got the darker pine boughs with all the little ornaments on it and the sparkles, and then on the back side it's got that same olivey green with the sparkles. And then a blue with all the baubles and candy canes and poinsettias and holly. And then the same with blue with little sparkles and stars. This one is also kind of a, colors, it's kind of a green, yeah, it's kind of an ochre color, yeah. And then it's got the candy canes, the Merry Christmas, the little baubles, and on the back, a little polka dot with that same color. And I love this one. It's got all the little these are a great little quilt block, but it's also great for cutting these apart. And then a green polka dot on the back, and I think that's our last one, all right? Love that retro Christmas. And let's take a look at the little stamp and die sets. So you've got your stamp, and then the little coordinating die set for both, or die piece. So each set has 2 pieces. And then I wanted to show you, I stamped both of these with different colors. So this one is done with a brown or a sepia, and we can zoom in on that one. And then this one is done with black ink, okay? So one can give you, the color of the ink can give you a very different look. I thought this one was a little more retro looking. This one might be just a little bit more traditional. And then the dies work really, really well. So here's that color with that surround on it. Here's one that's die cut from this one. And then here's one that I just die cut using the black ink as well. So what inks did I use? Well, it depends on what you're going to color with in order to choose your ink. So I'm using alcohol-based markers. These are tri-blend markers from Spectrum Noir. So these are alcohol-based, so I wanted to use a dye-based ink or a water-based ink, kind that just washes off easily, as opposed to a permanent ink like StazOn that doesn't wash off, okay? So I used, this is VersaFine, and it's a sepia ink, sepia colored ink, so it's brown. And this one gave us this color right here. And this works really well with alcohol-based markers. And what I mean by really well is when you color in the projects, they're not going to blend together and get all muddy. The stamped ink isn't going to get smeared. It's going to stay really crisp. And that's because you're using two inks that are kind of opposite. They don't blend well together or blend well at all. So that's really important. So if you're going to use colored pencils, then it doesn't matter. But if you're going to be using, for example, a watercolor marker, okay, then you wouldn't want to use this kind of ink because this is a water-based ink and those two inks would just blend together. So you would want to use, if you're using a water-based marker, you would want to use a permanent ink, an alcohol-based stamp pad like StazOn, okay? So I used the sepia for this one, and for the black, I used Memento's Tuxedo Black, which is also a pigment ink, which is also water-based, okay? So I hope that is clear. We're gonna come back and do a little bit of the coloring and whatnot, but let's take a look at some cards. I'll kind of talk you through like the different coloring I did on them. So for this one, you guys, this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card, but I took the card and I folded the edges to the center to make a gatefold. So on the back of this, you can see, I don't know, I hope you can see, there we go. That's the original fold. So I just opened up the entire card, laid it flat. I used a scoreboard and I scored each flap, the front and back flap, at 2.5 inches, and that way I could just fold it together. And then you guys, I went and I took that paper that is so cute with the little peach. Here we go, this one. And I just took this and I used some Cosmic Shimmer glue and I put glue on one flap at a time and then just took this paper and I literally just set it like right here, right up next to the fold, leaving a border at the top and the bottom because this is 6-inch wide paper but 6.5 inch tall card. You could trim the card so it fits perfectly, but I like a little border, so I left it. And then I did the same thing on the other side. Then I used for that border, these are teal jewel border dazzle stickers and that mirror finish. And I thought that went really nicely with the little teal looking little sparkles on here. So I went ahead and used each one of those borders at the top and the bottom. For this piece right here, which is only tape, it's actually glued to just the left flap, okay, so that it's easily opened. That's what makes it a gatefold. I used a cutting die. So this is 12 rectangle and scallop cutting dies, and I used both the straight edge and the scallop. The straight edge goes with the coordinating paper, and then just a white cardstock scallop on that. And then let's see what else. Oh yeah, I used this for this little bow. I used the coordinating, the paper that's directly on the back of this. I used this one, and then for this one, I used the orangey one that goes with the holly sort of paper. And let's see, so then went ahead and did my little bow, and then there's instructions on how to put these bows together. They're really, really simple. Just glued that there. And then I took my little, I die cut, let's see, I stamped this one in black. So it's just like this. And I'm going to give you just a little demonstration on what colors I used for this. First of all, I knew I had to have orange for the noses. And then I also used coral. I wanted to kind of match that paper. So I took this little guy's vest. And if you're not familiar with tri-blend markers, the color is coral blend. And then there's dark, medium, light in each pen, which is so handy. And I just outlined the little trim on this guy using the darkest shade, just like this. And then I went and did the medium or mid and just color around that. just to get his vest going here. I'm only going to do one side. Coloring kind of around those buttons. And then I returned to the darker color, and you can just kind of blend out a little bit here. And then went back to the medium, and then I just kind of took that extra little line that I added there, and I'm just blending that out a little bit, like that. So you've got some really easy shading. Go back to the dark color, and then I just colored in those little circles for his vest buttons. Then the scarf. Okay, for the scarf, I took the darkest color and I just went around the left edge for all of these. Or in this case, like the top of each stripe. And then went back to the medium. And then just colored in that whole little rectangle right over that darker piece. And that just gave you a little shading there, as opposed to just coloring it all one color. Just give it a little bit of interest. And it just makes it so easy to do that. Here we go. That's how that looked. And then I went to light green pen. And for this one, I just took the medium or the mid, and I didn't do any shading on this one. Colored it all in. Okay, and then I just did a little bit of a gray hat, gray skates, outlined those. Went to the orange colored pen for the nose. And then went back to the light green, the darkest shade here. Did the little holly leaves like that. And then forgot all about the little cuff here. And colored in the mitten with the lightest shade. Medium right next to the cuff. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, the darkest shade. Just added that to the hat. I also used the medium on earmuffs, like that. Okay, that's pretty much how I colored him. And then for the little lady here, I used True Blue Blend, okay, so that nice darker blue. I used the medium on the skates. I used the coral on the flower. I used the darker blue on the hat, the medium blue on the buttons. And then on the trim on the mitten and on the polka dots on the scarf, I used the medium. And then I just colored that in with that light green. So really easy coloring, didn't use a lot of colors, kept it pretty simple. And yeah, that was just such a fun one to do, picking up the colors that were in this card background. All right, so, oh, here, and I forgot to show you on the inside of the card, right here, just use that same paper that was on the back of this one. Some more of these Peel Jewel Dazzle stickers. And then this one is called Large Gold Merry Christmas Dazzle. And it's in a gold pearl finish, which is really nice. And there's 3 of these large statement Merry Christmases on the sheet. Oh, I should tell you about our giveaway. So if you are watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page, then we would invite you to go over to our YouTube channel. We're trying to promote our YouTube channel by doing card giveaways. So we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday videos, and you would need to follow these directions about liking and commenting with each one of those videos separately to enter to win a card. So if you hop on over to YouTube, subscribe to YouTube if you already haven't, like our video with a thumbs up, leave a comment, and then also be a subscriber to our channel. And then about a week later, we'll reply to one of the viewers by saying, congratulations. We'll say that to their comment and give them instructions on how to collect their prize. We also identify them by their YouTube username. So it'll be congratulations, YouTube username blank. Your YouTube username is the name that your comment is labeled with. Okay? It's what you registered for when you got your YouTube channel. So yeah, you got to know what that is. And then also it's a good idea to hit that notification bell in the top right-hand corner so you know when we're trying to contact you, because we do this a lot. So I hope somebody definitely collects that card. Here is another one, you guys. This is 5x5, and this is using this cute little reindeer. I also stamped him using the sepia ink. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about the card, and then I will talk about the coloring of this little guy. So this is a 5x5 card, and I started by cutting away from the top left corner. I cut away from the top left corner to the bottom right corner, cut off a triangle. That's gone. Okay, and then I covered the front here with this beautiful star sparkle paper that is on the back of this paper right here. All right, and I just covered the whole thing. And how I did that was I just took the sheet of paper and I just went like this so it left a little border, and then I just trimmed it even with this edge. Added another length of those little teal Jewel Dazzle stickers right here. Then on the inside of this card, I have a 4-inch square card, okay? And let me make sure. Is it a 4-inch square card or is it a 4.5? Sometimes I forget. Yes, it's 4 inches. So a 4-inch square card. I took a little bit of this paper, made a pocket. I actually cut off one of the little candy cane stripes from what was left on these, glued it here. Then we've just got a little cutout here and also a little card. Colored another one of these guys and just glued it right here so they could take things in and out. An extra little strip of paper here. This is one of those little quilting block pieces, and I just cut that out, matted it with some white cardstock, and put it right there. On the card front, we have this paper, and I just made sure I utilized that little border. A little doily, you guys, which is right here. This is a 3.5-inch craft brown doily. We love these. They're a great little landing spot. And then a little holly jolly comes from our Christmas Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle stickers, and they come in this lovely collection just like this. I like to just use a little pokey tool to, I'm trying to find my pokey tool, to lift these right off. It's just a little sharp tool, and you can just peel those off and lift them, and then while they're still on the tool, you can just lay them down right there, press them with your finger, and then they won't be going anywhere. So then once I colored this little guy, glued him to the doily, and then glued this whole card after covering the back here with another paper, just glued that whole card there. When you're gluing it down, you want to make sure that this part doesn't get, you don't have this part interfere right here. So I just used liquid glue, set it down, and then I closed this, and then I was able to kind of manipulate it to make sure that this closed over this flap really easily. So yeah, that's a really fun one. So let me show you what I did to color this little guy. I used, that's coral. I used golden brown. Where is it? Here we go. This one's gold brown blend. And what I did is I took the darkest shade. You're just gonna color the top of the tail like that. And then we're gonna go around his little hind end there, down a leg like that. And then we're just going to add a darker color to each part of the leg, like the left side of the leg, just for shading. And then we're going to do that around the head like that, and the jaw, and then a little bit at the base of the ears and here as well. And then you can take the medium shade and you can kind of go like here for the tail. And then you just start kind of blending, coloring in here. And then you can also go back if like you want to go darker. over these. Just do another layer of that darker. Okay, and then yeah, just color like that. Color in your whole little deer guy. And then the inside part, I used a light pink pen, which I forgot to grab. I used the dark red on the bow. The eyes, I used the lightest shade here. And I just went around the eye like that. And then just a little bit here. Let's see what else. Yeah, just coloring in with that medium shade over those dark lines. And then just kind of blending that out a little bit. And then for the antlers, you can just take the medium shade and you just go up, following the line of the antlers. And then for all of these little baubles and things, I just took like the dark red. You can just use the medium shade on that one. You just kind of color in, like do all the little red baubles, maybe every other one on this one. This, and like this. And then you go back and you do maybe some green. You also using the medium shades, because if you go too dark on these, the ink just kind of disappears, because these are very tiny little bits. So it's better to start with the light. Okay, and then finally yellow. The yellow, I did go ahead and go dark on this one just because it is such a light color. And I just did the star and the little bells. Let's see, on his chest, I ended up using the medium right there on the chest. Like that. All right, so really easy to color these. You don't have to have a lot of experience. It does matter what kind of pens you use though. All right, so let's go on to this one. Here is another one of this adorable little deer. For this one, I took my 5 by 6.5 inch card and I cut away on the card front only 1.5 inches from the card front flap. And then what I did was, well, first I should back up. First, I took my 5 by 6.5 inch card and I covered the entire thing with red cardstock. Then I cut away a 1.5 inch flap. Then I took this ochre colored bough, like the pine boughs. Come on, here we go. I took that and just cut it, put it right here, and with the card open, I just trimmed it here. Then this one, I did the same thing on that little strip of this one. I just took this paper, put it right here, leaving that border, and then trimmed it even. Then you guys, I took some glue and I glued just this part right here of the card back. And the card back I actually covered in red cardstock as well. So once this was covered with red cardstock, I glued this little strip piece right here. And once it dries, you can bend it like this and it makes a little closure. So it's just really easy to open and then close like that, based on the fact that it's just got that glued edge on it. This is what's left over from here. Just glue that right there. Use some more of those little teal Jewel Dazzle stickers here and just something decorative on this side. You could also put more paper there. And then I have a little oval cutting die. And I just used white cardstock. I used some of that same red cardstock to cut out the little scallop. And then colored my little deer in that way that I showed you, glued that, and then, oh, what fun, is from those Christmas Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle stickers. Just added those on with my pokey tool. This is foam taped. This little oval is foam taped just to this side, okay? And I used a strip of our giant wheel of foam tape, which is 150 feet or 50 yards of continuous 1/2 inch wide foam tape. It's about a $20 purchase, but it lasts forever. All right, I also wanted to tell you guys what we are stamping on. I told you the ink, but this is Hunky Dory's lightweight essential card block. and it's got 75 sheets. The size is really nice for putting in your stamping platform, or if you like to stamp with a stamping block. And we really like this. It takes the ink and the color really, really nicely. We call it Stampin' White cardstock. All right, so here is another one. This is the center step card. They're already die cut. There's 5 cards, 5 envelopes in this pack. They're already ready to go, so they're great for traveling with if you like to travel and craft. And so you guys, here I just took like strips of this paper, and I took strip here, a rectangle, made sure it had that little border on the top of it. And then I used our little white fancy border dazzle stickers just right along that seam between the 2 papers. I went back to the rectangle cutting dies here because I just wanted a landing place for this little die cut image, so it doesn't look like it's kind of like floating on the paper. I like to give it some place to land. So the little green polka dot paper, white cardstock border, we just went with the red and green colors from this, and then added down here, we've got our Christmas script greeting dazzle stickers. And on this one, I added the dark green. Here we go. And this particular collection has all these script greetings in these colors, but it also comes with tiny words and phrases in there. So if you were thinking about getting this collection, I listed them separately. This one just has the tiny words and phrases. This one has not only the script greeting, but the tiny words as well, all in one package. Okay, you guys, this was a fun one to work with. I love that retro look. I'm a big fan. And I think that Crafter's Companion did a great job. So here we have our money saver, which is on the right-hand side of the screen. Definitely check that out. And all the other items are listed down below the video, you guys. So if you're interested in the bow cutting die or the pens that we use, they're all listed down below. If you're watching us over on YouTube, then just look below the video in the description box and you'll see a link that'll take you to this Paper Wishes webisode page. Don't forget to participate in our giveaway by leaving us a comment. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget about the money saver. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. I'll see you in the next one.